All right. There we go. We are officially back live in action for what's this? Week 3. We've been going strong, y'all, haven't we? I absolutely have been enjoying myself, and I pray that you have as well and have been learning some excellent information. Again, welcome to Financial Fitness Friday from the Making a Child Change Foundation, where we are continuously building the bridge from poverty to prosperity. Listen, y'all still ain't getting me. I appreciate those of you who have been participating, who have been online, who have been involved, who have been sending in your comments and your questions. I truly, truly am thankful. For the rest of y'all who just been sitting back watching, you know you want the info and you know everything. Well, you know what? I apologize. I'm going to take this as a compliment that apparently the information is clearly presented and you don't have questions and or concerns. Right? All right. That's what we're going with. Positive thinking, right? Elevated thinking. Let's get into this. As always, I love to review the mission and the vision. Making a Child Change Foundation empowers determined teens with the financial knowledge and skills they need to achieve balance and prosperity in life. We're not going to hold on to this. We were talking about this for 3 weeks already. If you know now, you don't. Look, if you didn't know, now you know. If you don't know, go ahead and check out week 1, mindset, and week 2, breaking down our budgeting. All right. Good. Okay. I'm not even gonna go through all of this again because today I really want to get into as much detail as we can with this credit information. So, who am I again? I am Sophia M. Barnett. I'm the executive director and founder of the M.A.C.C Foundation, Making a Child Change. Um, I'm also an author and speaker, and I love being able to host these workshops. What you guys are experiencing are samples of our ninth grade curriculum broken down for our Financial Fitness Friday to be able to teach and to expand upon and to also give a nice little teaser to what we do during our after school program. If you guys have not signed up yet, registration is still open. I want to max this class out. Okay. So head on over to our link tree. QR code will be at the end of the video. It'll also be in the description and register your child. If you are in the Detroit area, listen, on the west side, come on, stop by. If you're on the east side, if you're on the southwest side, if you're on the northeast side, wherever you are, if you can make it plain, train, D dot. All right, that's the inside for those of you who know. If you can make it, then come on by. Listen, we start at 4 p.m. on Tuesdays and we're going all the way up into Christmas break. So bring your child, middle school, high school. I'll even take elementary at this point, okay? Because I make sure that the learning is fun, is hands-on, and we want to get these teens and these kids and these young adults free bank accounts. So many of us didn't get our first bank account until we were actually grown, right? I was blessed that my mother attempted to get me a Comerica account when I was a kid, but she wasn't keeping up with it because she was too busy worried about her own, and she was older, so mentally just was not thinking maybe this needs to be functioning more professionally. All right, so I had to get my own when I got my first job, and I've been with them ever since. But nevertheless, always the more, let's keep it rolling. So my lovely warnings, right? I like to call these necessities for success. This is our toolbox, and yes, I will review this every week because I want this fresh in your mind, fresh in your energy, fresh in your spirit. I don't know why. Okay. My left hand don't want to be on the screen. I can't stand looking at it, seeing one of my hands missing, but it's all right. All right. One, this only works if you do. I cannot force you to do the information. I cannot make you go and create the steps. I cannot do anything other than to present. At that point, you have to be the one to take it in and do the work. Secondly, respect and confidentiality is a must. Listen, we have some viewers who are behind the scenes in the actual Zoom room. Um, People are going to give their comments. They're going to give their thoughts. They're going to come up for discussion. I just ask that we do it respectfully and that we don't blast everybody's information on social media, screenshotting and doing different stuff. Okay. Now, if you want to do a shout out screenshot, by all means, go ahead, y'all. Like, share the love, but don't share people's private information and questions. Secondly, active participation. I don't have a problem being a talking head. But it's not fun as somebody who just doesn't consider themselves a presenter, but also a teacher. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the questions because that's the only way, one, I can expand on what I'm teaching you. Two, you get a very clear understanding of what it is that I am teaching. And three, we're both learning together. So, if I keep getting the same questions over and over again, then that means that I am missing some information and some material. So that means now I go in and make the adjustments. So now the future classes, future learners won't have to say, "Oh, well, she's clearly covering that." And that is my goal, is to be able to give you the best experience ever. And lastly, there is no such thing as a wrong answer here. Okay, if I ask a question, just give me what you got because we only go based off our experience and our education. And you don't know what you don't know until you don't know you know it. Or until you don't know you don't know it. There we go. You know what I'm really starting to think? These 6 o'clock classes, like my brain be really tired. So I'm gonna make sure next week I'm gonna give me plenty of rest. I'm not gonna do nothing extra. I know it's Halloween. Listen, I still want y'all here. Okay. If you gotta go trick or treating, take the kids out early so y'all can hop back on by 6 o'clock. And worst case scenario, come on at 6. And if you grown and you going out later on that night, then we done by 7 o'clock. You can go on about your way. All right. We good? We good? Let's get it. As always, we gotta crack open the door with a nice icebreaker. So tell me, what's your name? All right. Normally we would do the financial literacy review from last week that we did. Don't worry about that. What is your credit score? Okay. That is the question of the hour. All right. So y'all know my name, and I'm gonna put it out there because a lot of people like, oh, Sophia, either your score is freaking immaculate or your score is horrible. I will tell you right now, my score is literally in the middle. The nasty middle, right before you get to, ooh, that's sexy, and far beyond the, whew, I finally made it out of there. So we are currently sitting at a nice 680. Okay. Now, I will tell you this. The reason it is as low, in my opinion, for myself, not judging anybody, it is as low as it is for me is because during the 2018 to 2022, when I had to go and stay at home full time taking care of my daughter, it required me to have to do some very extreme things to be able to take care of us. Okay. Being a single parent after my husband passed and now having to take care of 3 children, and one who needed special care for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All of my savings that I had, like I had to pay doctor bills. At that point, I was not working anymore. Unemployment very minimal. So that was just getting us by. Eventually, we were able to get her on Social Security. So that actually helped bring in some income. But at that point, my credit cards, all maxed out. Loans I had taken out to be able to run the restaurant during 2021. I'm being transparent, I'm being vulnerable with you, right? Because I'm letting you know I've experienced the low end, which is why I know how to get out of it. All right. And I thank God that He put me around some excellent credit adjusting people because I hate to say repair because people think that you can just fix something. Yeah, there are some tips and tricks to be able to, boost your credit score, to be able to lower your usage. I know about all that stuff. I was trained in it. But sometimes you just really need to understand slow and steady wins the race. And so what I've been doing over the past 2 years is paying off all of my debt that I've had, clearing my credit back up, establishing positive credit accounts, and working it up on the slow roll. Credit is really just for those you want to be able to get good APRs, annual percentage rates, when you go after larger borrowing amounts. So when we're talking about that, we're talking about your mortgages, right? We're talking about your car payments. Those are literally the top two things that you want a low interest rate on. And when you have a good credit score above 700, your interest rate is always lower. Always lower, unless you just got some really, really dingy things on your credit report. All right. Like I said, we ain't judging. It happens. Some judgments, some liens. Sometimes that'll put you in a different box. Generally, that type of stuff, though, you can, well, not all of them. Some things can be removed after a certain period of time, and some just won't. They linger. Um, my student loans and stuff, I had been paid that off, so that was never a real problem. But that's where I am now. All right. I digress. Thank you guys for dropping y'all credit scores in the chat. We got a large varying room right here. And I'm not gonna put nobody names on blast, but I'm just gonna say we got some 420s, we got some 545s, we got a 635. Somebody got a 730. Come on now, amen. Listen, you with the prosperous, right? Amen. Amen. I'm on my way up there. Okay. And the greater news is that in less than a week, all of my high school students will be able to graduate with a 700 plus credit score. Nice little teaser for you. Let's keep it moving. So today's focus, we're always talking about our mind, right? But we're going to talk today about the credit mind, right? That's why it's colorful, because when we think about what the actual credit score chart looks like, it looks like a rainbow of colors. And I could not get this to edit the whole brain on here to save my life, but it is what it is. Y'all see it, y'all feel it, y'all know, y'all know what it is. Amen. All right, let's go. So this particular module is called Get in Check. And this part one is what is credit check. And this is what we talk about, just the very basics of credit, what it is, how it works. Okay. The second part of this module breaks down on how to maintain and correct your credit. So we won't probably get to experience any of that, but if you come on over to the after school program or sign up for our financial literacy curriculum, then you'll have 100% full access to that. But today's topic, make sure I pull out my handy dandy notes, because I'm one of those. I take notes on myself. Don't judge me. Credit, confidence, and choices. Build it. Don't break it. Amen. You know what it is. I think something copied twice. Yeah, it did. It happens. So, as always, yes, we believe in participation, right? So, we gotta do our opening. We gotta do our questioning. So let's get the audience participation, y'all. Let's get on the mic. What's in a credit report? Now, for those of you who have no clue even what a credit report is, I want you to guess. All right, it's cool. Nobody's going to be offended if you are wrong. All right, like the only way that you will learn is to actually sometimes guess, because sometimes you guess right. All right. So, what's in a credit report? That is the question. I'm going to help you guys out. Lord Jesus, my phone. Listen, that's that AI Siri stuff. They nosy. They nosy. All right. So what's in the credit report? Okay, we got a couple of people in the chat. I'm going to write this on here because I think it is hilarious. And I'm not judging you, but I think because it is such an obvious answer, I want to use it. Reports about your credit. Yes. That is definitely the general means of what's in a credit report. All right. Somebody says your Account history. Yes. I'm gonna give you one that I know a lot of people don't even think about. Your personal information. Sophia, what personal information is in a credit report? Your name, your address. Let me say this. I'm gonna be more specific about this. Every name that you have ever used to make a credit transaction of some sort. So let's say, for instance, you spelled your name wrong one time, or you were applying for a credit card and the person was typing it in and they typed it in wrong. It will still show up on your credit report. It just shows the wrong spelling as an option because it was on one of mine. Somebody forgot my H and I was Sophia Barnett. But guess what? The social security number was typed in right. Right? Your social security number is not on your credit report. No, no, on TransUnion and them, they are on there. Let me take that back. I'm lying. Some of them will blank them out and star them out, and they'll just show the last four, but it is included. Any address that you have ever used. So if you went to school, if you had a job, student loans, bank accounts, cell phones, light and gas. Let me go ahead and type that in too, right? All billing, right, is on there. Um, I'm trying to think back to the personal information because that's where I was at. Da, 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 da. Your birth date is on there when it comes to personal information. All of your job information is on there. Employment. A lot of people don't realize that. Like I came from a financial industry background. So one of the things they did was check our credit. They don't want you to be desperate working with big large sums of money. Like they had no clue. Like people who work in banking, y'all can verify that. They didn't know. Um, when we talk about the different type of credit accounts, we said that like credit card, and I said billing over there, but that's different. Mortgages, auto loans. I got one that nobody said yet. That's the obvious one too. Your payment history. What do we mean by that, Sophia? Your payment history means you either paid it on time, you paid it late. And if you paid it late, they track how late you were. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. And then it continues to go on from there, right? Um, the later you are, the more it dings your credit score. That's just the way it is. It also has the amount that was due on there and the amount paid. Any type of public records. What is a public record, Sophia? Remember when I was talking about those liens and stuff? So if you file for bankruptcy, I don't want spelling that right. Don't judge me if I'm not. That look wrong. If you have a foreclosure, and that's when like say for instance you had a house payment and I'm not talking about rent, I'm talking about mortgage, and you failed to pay it and the bank took the house back. Bankruptcy is what a lot of you hear a lot of corporations do that, right? There are different types of ways that you can file bankruptcy. It's different chapters, depending on your circumstances, lawyer recommendations, etc. I'm not going to get into that because we're not talking about that, but I want you to have an understanding of what I'm saying. Also when we thinking about liens, so like if there was a property or a past due balance on something, you owe somebody and they put a lien on your your properties, on your bank accounts, etc. Any court ordered judgment. So that goes into the same category. Like sometimes when people are past due on their rent, the owner will take them to court and then they can get a judgment against them. And then that way it actually show up on their credit. You'll find out that everything is not reported to your credit, and that can be a little irritating, right? Because you paying this stuff every single month on time, like your rent. And there are some great sites and some great apps. They're not always free. You usually have to pay a monthly fee or a one-time fee to be able to use their services. But if you need that boost in credit, it comes in handy. Okay. And I'm giving y'all some really, really, really quick tips on here. Another thing that's on your credit report, inquiries. So, Phil, what the heck is an inquiry? Anytime somebody runs your social security number in the database, it creates an inquiry on your credit report. So like if you apply for a credit card, they're going to run your social security number to be able to pull your credit report. That is an inquiry. Um if you go try to get a car loan, that's inquiry. Um, there's two different types. There's hard and soft, and it just simply means one stays on your credit report. It shows that you applied for that. And then it usually dings your credit 1 or 2 points. And then soft credit just generally gives them a high level overview, but it does not show that you applied for on your credit report. So those are some very general things. If you have some different ideas, maybe I missed something. Maybe the audience didn't think of it. Feel free to tell me about it. And y'all know what I'm gonna do because what I say, I love to say the information. So we're gonna print this screen. We're gonna clear it off so that way we can be able to continue about our my eraser don't want to work today. There we go. And let's keep it moving. Thank you so very much for your participation. And if you guys got any questions or concerns or anything like that, please feel free drop them in the chat at any time. So, who is the credit monitoring police? We like to call them the credit bureaus. There are three particular ones who monitor your personal credit. And this year had a lot of different laws and changes to who reports what, how it's reporting, um, the different scoring models that they're going to be using, and that we can get really, really deep into that. But for the sake of time, and for the sake of not having your mind overwhelmed, we're going to focus on these three that's right here for personal credit. So we have Equifax that was founded in 1899. Don't judge me, y'all. TransUnion, which was founded in 1968, and Experian, the baby of the bunch, which was founded in 1996. So I know you guys are thinking, right? If some of these were founded after even my parents was born, or after I was, was born, were they tracking the information prior to? That is an excellent question. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I have no clue. I don't know if they went back and they updated their records, once they became active. I don't know if they only maintained their files from the current year in which they started. I will research that for you. And as always, I'll make sure I put that in the chat, right down in the comment section. So you will have clarity on that. But no, that is an excellent question. And I made sure that I put the websites up here for you so you know how you can access them. I am going to write this on the screen because I want you guys to have it because I know everybody who's watching this back, if I put it in the chat, won't get it. But if you go to annualcreditreport.com, that's annualcreditreport.com, they will provide you with a free credit report from all three bureaus. You can get it done at the exact same time. If you have never looked at your credit report, I suggest you do it today. Pull all three of them. Now, at one point in time, pre-COVID, you could only do this once a year. I know, right? Like, I didn't think it would be that big of a deal for me to be able to pull up a digital report online and you can just give it to me, right? Um, do not do the free credit report website. They will make you pay, and then they will sell your information too as well. I've heard some complaints about that. Um, but annualcreditreport.com is like the main federal one that they utilize. It gives you access to all three. You can now do this every single week if you want to. You don't have to do it every single week. I would suggest at least do it every 30 days. That way you're maintaining, right, the intelligence of what is in your credit profile. This is your life. Like, this is literally you on paper. If you one of those people who did stuff with credit. If you just a cash asset, then none of that stuff gets really reported. But for those of you who like the Macy's cards, those of you who like the American Express and the Capital Ones, and those of you who want a car, off the lot, that type of stuff is reported on there. So you want to be able to see exactly what your standing is, and how you are being recorded, because you may wake up one day and say, "Oh, I'm gonna go buy that car," right? And you get to the dealership and they're going to pull your credit, and you find out that it's very low, or that you don't even have enough credit established, because low credit scores don't always mean that you were a bad borrower. It simply means sometimes that you didn't even borrow anything. So you'll go in and have a zero score, or a score that's in the 400s, because that's generally where they start off once you get one thing on there. I just said a whole lot. So I hope that you guys are taking notes, right? So these are your three babies. These are the people who are monitoring everything. Equifax is the oldest, been around forever in a day. What I used to strategize and tell my clients when they used to pull their credit report, do one a week, right? And then because it's not weekly, I say just pull all three the first time you go in there and compare them. Listen, these are computers and humans who are making sure that this information is entered. If there is anything that is inaccurate on your credit, you want to challenge it. And when you go to these private websites, they will literally tell you how you can make a disputed transaction. I am not going to cover that today because that is in part two. All right. But just know that it is there for you to be able to get it corrected. If there's an address that is wrong, if your social security number is wrong, if there's phone numbers that's wrong, if your name has been spelled wrong, get that stuff corrected. And I'm about to tell you a good, a, I don't even know how I want to describe it, but a good rule of thumb, not even that, a good red flag to be able to watch out for. If you see a random address on your credit report and you've never lived there, there's a good chance that somebody used your credit. Because guess what? The address is not going to lie. Somebody at that address used your social security number to get some type of credit. And 9 times out of 10, when you look down your list and you see some random car payment or some random this and some stuff, like, wait, I didn't get that. I didn't use that. That is why. So those are some red flags that you can look out for. Another thing that you can look out for too, when it comes to that, is like I said, the spelling of your name. But another way, like for my kids, right? My students, my teens that's out there that's watching this. I come from a generation where our parents, our aunties, and our uncles would get stuff put in our name. It is very sad. Okay. They done messed their credit up. Now they got this baby social security number, and now they about to go ahead and get everything that they need. And what will happen is, if they didn't pay it on time, because once we going back to week one mindset, right? If your mind is not set up to pay things on time, The same way they butchered theirs is the same way they will butcher yours. And there'll be a lot of people who are very, very unfortunately, they become college students and then they turn around and then they find out, why is my credit messed up? I never got this. I never did this. This is not mine. And that's because somebody decided that they wanted to get something in honor of you. Excuse me. Whew. All right. So that's them. Oh, I forgot. I had the clicker on. All right. So, four types of credit. We have revolving credit, we have charge cards, we have installment credit, and then we have service credit. So, revolving credit is the type of credit that falls into your your bank credit cards, right? It's revolving. That means once you pay it off, whatever that balance is, it goes back and increases. So let's say for instance you have a $500 credit card at Macy's, right? And you decide that you want to go shopping, you circulate 150 of that dollars. So that means you have $350 left to use. Now you don't pay it all off when the due date come around. And so they charge you the interest for $150. They tell you that your minimum balance, your minimum payment due is 25. Your interest might turn around and be, the average is usually about 15 to 20%. Not gonna lie to you. You can really, if your credit is really, really good, then you generally can get those cards for under close to 10% interest. And that's another thing you want to look out for when you're card shopping, so to speak. You want to make sure that the interest that they're charging you, that APR rate, is always lower than 13%. Now, you'll find out very quickly that a lot of those cards who willing to send all that stuff to you to mail your first freshman year of college, you get all that stack of letters from everybody like, "Hey, here's your first card. Welcome, blah 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 blah." And you open it. I want you to go to that little info page. It's usually like a spread accordion style sheet. And it tells you the frequently asked questions and information. You flip that boy on his back, and it's gonna have that nice box with that large number on there. That's the APR rate. A lot of that stuff be over 20%. That is not good. That is not good. Because that means for every dollar that you spend using that card, you're gonna owe 20 cents. And it may not sound like it is a lot, but when you spend $100, that's $20. When you spend $1,000, that's $200. Okay, that you're gonna have to owe back. You don't want that in your life. You just don't. And I know you're like, well, if I only got to pay a percentage of it every month, why do it matter? It does. Because remember, we talked about last week talking about budgeting and being able to save and being able to invest our money in the right direction. If you circulating all your money on interest rates, when are you ever gonna be able to put something up? Right? Charge cards are they're very similar to credit cards, right? But this is the difference. I want to make sure I try to explain this right because I don't talk about this stuff a lot, so my brain be a little cloudy on how to verbally describe it. So forgive me. One thing about charge cards, back in the day, aging myself again, Montgomery Wards used to do charge cards and not credit cards. So they would give you a balance, but you would have to pay it in full by your due date, right? That's the only way it worked. Some of them had very minimum limits on it because they knew that it had to be paid in full by the due date. And once you pay it in full, then you generally can use it again. Another little tip about credit cards. You do not have to use a credit card every single month in order to keep it active. You don't have to use it at all, right? Once you get it and you have the credit established and you see your points go up, leave it alone, cut it up, put it in the freezer, as they used to say, so you don't go swiping it. That's an old school trick. But just be mentally responsible for it. And once they see you that warning saying, hey, we had seen that you have not used our card in a while, we're going to cancel your card. You got a phone bill due, right? You was going to pay cash for that phone bill payment. Go swipe that card, pay that bill, or type the number in. Oh, new school people, my apologies. Y'all paying online or on your phone. Type the card number in, immediately go to the card site and pay it off. That way you don't have to worry about interest being charged. Next type of credit is installment. So that's generally your loans. So we talking about the car payments. We talking about the mortgages. We talking about the student loans. Like they're giving you or even personal loans. They'll give you a large amount of money at one time, and you're only required to pay back a certain amount of it every month. The difference is with installment loans or credit is that the money does not replenish just because you paid it back. So if you have a $500 credit card and you circulate $100 and you pay the $100 back, you still get to use $500. If you have a $500 installment account and you use the $100, well, you're going to use the whole 500 because that's how they're going to give it to you. Once you pay back $100, it doesn't give you $100 back that you can recirculate. It just means now you only owe four. And the last one is your service credit. And I'm a cheat and look that up because like I said, it's been a minute since I taught this one. And I want to make sure I give you the examples the right way. Aha, there we go. So like purchasing service credits like um I don't like the examples that they're giving me because it's not making it click in my head. Utilities, that's a good one. So when you open a utility account, they some of them will pull your credit. I.e. the water bill sometimes does that because they want to make sure that you don't have any prior liens from previous water bills that you did not pay. Now, generally a water bill sticks to the property, but at one point in time, depending on how old you are, it went with you. Okay, so it wasn't like a property issue; it was a your issue that you was gonna be able to do. You don't need it. It is not mandatory to be able to build your credit, which is why a lot of us don't think about it, let alone talk about it. But just know that it is a type. Now we get to get into the fun part, right? This is what the brain was talking about earlier, the color charts of the credit. So everybody who understands or have ever saw credit or have ever taught credit, right? It's called the US credit model. This is just the standard of how they categorize you based off of your credit score. So they consider you bad. Ain't that crazy just to call somebody bad? Like, does that make you feel good about doing anything with your credit accounts? No, it don't. And 16% of people everywhere in the US generally falls between the 350 and 549 zone. So those are my lovelies who typed that into the chat. Don't feel bad. You are among a fairly decent amount of a group of people. Okay. The next one they want to call you poor. It's wild, right? That is 34% people. That's 34%. And I'm gonna make sure that in the comment section I see what the current status is because when I did this Lord have mercy, about 2018-ish, somewhere in there. So when I first did this one. So I'm curious to know how that has increased and or decreased. But that's anybody between 550 and 649. You're generally considered fair credit, which is the safe zone, as I like to call it, right? 650 to 699. And that's about 18%. And then you got about 13% of people who have good credit. And that's what I want you, lovelies, to fall into, my teens who are watching. When you get an opportunity to graduate with that 700 plus credit score, that is where you will be. You will start right there at the tip top of the totem pole, right? And that's 700 to 749. And a lot of people are so surprised when they see this statistic that 30% of people have good credit. So you are either very good with your credit or you are very poor with your credit. Like that is literally the mix. Like when we talking about over 50% of our population, and that's 750 and up. What you would know is that 850 is considered the maximum amount that you get on your credit, and there are means to be able to do that. You generally have to have a very excellent credit mix. We talk about that in our book that's coming out next week. And there are different means to be able to do it. Okay, you don't always have to use credit cards or debt in order to build credit. So just keep that in mind. This is the financial freedom credit model, though. Remind you, right? What does this look like? Take you back to week one. And if you didn't see it, go on over there. It's down in the description. You can point and click and get your mindset right. Right? So when we did the financial freedom credit model, I wanted people to understand what your mindset is, how it establishes your lifestyle. Okay. So generally, if you have a poverty mindset, and if you took the quiz, you know where you are, you're going to fall in that 350 to 649 range. Okay. If you find yourself penny pinching, right? And I'm not gonna tell y'all what this stuff means. Go watch read one video. That's generally the 650 to 699. And I know y'all like, why is the range so big there and so low there? Listen, if you are under a six, generally a six, I'm gonna say a 640, because that's about on average that I've seen where a lot of people get deemed at. But no, I'm gonna say 650. Because 650, that safe zone, will give you an opportunity to get some decent interest rates. And I'm not saying decent like, woo, that is so good. You ain't 9%. No, I'm talking about decent like that's keeping you close to that 20%. Right? And so that is like the average of what you're going to find. When you talk about prosperous mindset and lifestyle, right? The 700 to 850 club, baby, that's low interest rates. That's almost instantaneous approval. That's those pre-approval messages coming to your inbox. That's being able to walk into a car dealership and not have to have a down payment on your car. Like that is where the prosperity comes in at, because now you're able to make moves with other people's money and not be stressing yourself out. The penny pincher, like you're not poor, but you have to have an understanding of, I only can hold so much, right? I don't necessarily have the capacity to be able to move in prosperity. It's just really the honest to God truth. Now, unless you know the tricks of the trade, do I want to do that today? No. When y'all start subscribing and we can go live, then I'll start giving y'all my tips of the trades. Okay. um So we gonna keep it moving then. All right, because I really want to go into it and I gotta stop myself. But this is, when we look at this from this perspective, we have a very clear understanding of how we can operate and the things that we can get and the benefits that come with each and every one of them. I'm not dogging the US credit model, but I just think it's a lot. It's just a lot for no reason. So we gonna sum it up. You're either doing really, really horrible, you're doing extremely excellent, or you are riding the wave on the surface. Period. The end. That's just how it goes. And I went low, high, mid, just in case you was trying to follow along. So when we talk about the actual credit breakdown, this is how they figure out what your score is. So the largest piece of the pie is your payment history. So many people fail themselves simply because they won't pay stuff on time. Okay. They literally give you the option of minimum payments very intentionally and on purpose, because they know if you had it, you wouldn't have borrowed it. I'm just telling the truth, right? And I'm glad that they understand that at the very least, because then that gives us as humans a little bit of a break, right? I only got to pay you a little bit back of what you but let me get. Thank you. But they want to know at the very minimum you are going to pay it on time. And I'm gonna let a lot of you guys know if you was not paying attention. This is for my old heads, for my adults, my peoples. If you have paid attention to your credit score over the past 6 months, generally payment history only included your current accounts. I'm going to repeat that. Your payment history used to only include your current accounts. So for the last 2 years, if you paid your current accounts on time, then guess what? That was 100% rating. As of this year, thanks to all of the lovely changes taking place in the higher government, payment history now includes any active account that is on your credit. So that means if you had a credit card that was purchased by somebody else, and if it has not been the 7 years and they are still showing that you are not paying them, then guess what? That is dinging your payment history. I found that out because my lovely payment history went from 100% down to 96. And that may not sound like a lot, but that's almost 10 points of a drop just because of that little percentage. I was not a fan. Okay, I'm gonna digress. Because it irritated me because I wanted to make good and sure that I did everything I needed to do. So now it had forced me at that point of recognition. I got to start setting up payment arrangements for the other debt that I had unfortunately accumulated. And during COVID, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I took full advantage of those breaks that they had, and that's where them people ended up at. It is what it is. Okay, I'm not perfect, but I know how to get perfect credit because I know how to teach people how to get it. And that's just how it goes. All right. And the reason I know how to do that is because I learned what it is. The next largest category, amounts owed. So what does that mean, Sophia? Are they talking about just me owing somebody $20 or me owing somebody $100? No. When they talk about amounts owed, there is a thing where they like to refer to it as credit usage. So the goal for credit usage, and I want y'all to be writing this down, dropping into the chat. I want to be able to see this. You do not want to use over 30% of your credit limit. I repeat, you do not want to use over 30% of your credit limit. Yes, it's a beautiful match that's 30% of the FICO score. But also understand that when you have a card that has $1,000 on it, you do not want to circulate more than $300. If you go over that $300, it is going to ding your credit score. And it's based off an accumulation of all of your accounts. So don't think, oh my God, I gotta make sure every one of my cars stay in the 30%. And you don't really want all of those cars. Let me just start there. But for those of us, listen, I include myself, who ended up in that lane, make sure that you're doing what you need to do with them. Okay? Keep them good. But you don't need that many credit cards. Okay? You just need a good credit mix. But again, we'll find out more about that next week. I'm not going into that. We're just talking about the basics today. If you have $30,000 in available credit, you do not want to circulate more than $9,000. One of your credit cards, just for an example, may be 2,000. And you may have maxed that $2,000 card out because you was able to get a good deal, some cashback benefits. You were able to get some percentages off and reward points when you brought those plane tickets. When you planned that trip, you said, I'm going to use this card because I know it's going to benefit me in the long run. You still got $7,000 left to use, even if that one card is maxed out. So I want you to understand it's the total amount that you have and you don't want to use more than 30% of that. But if you make it a habit to never use more than 30% of any card that you have, I promise you it'll make your life so much smoother and you will never have to stress out about it. Okay? The next thing is your credit history. That's 15%. Your credit mix, that's 10%. And any new credit that you have is 10%. So if you are applying for a lot of different credit cards, that dings you. That's why you don't need them and you don't want them, right? You're going to get exactly what you need and you're going to keep that and nothing else. And you're going to make sure that you improve on those cards that you have because guess what? Cards reward you when you pay them back and when you pay them on time and when you pay them in full. They will increase your credit limit. So you may feel like, oh, I only started off with a $200 card. Do what you need to do with it. Within 6 months, they'll send you an offer saying, hey, we want to increase your credit because you paid it in full. That's the trick, right? Um, Within a year, if you don't necessarily keep it paid in full, but you pay it on time, and by the end of that year, you pay it in full, so they give you that offer. Listen, you just gotta learn the tricks, right? There's 6 to 12 month increments that they generally will give you that offer as long as because they watch you. Know that the current credit that you have, they're watching you because they want to see what you're doing with it. Since I've started paying off all of my current credit cards this year, my goal being December 31st, where I'm completely paid off, and yes, I am on target. Um, I have gotten one, two, three, four, five. I've gotten six increases on my current cards, and it has helped even move my credit score up because then it started lowering my total amount that I used, right? Because let's say, for instance, I had $1,000 card, and remember, I'm not supposed to spend over $300, but I was at $500 on that card, and then they increased my limit up to $1,500. That means now at that point, my 30% is $450, which means now I'm not over that much. I could pay the extra 50, and now I'm under 30%. Tricks of the trade, but it works. So how do you build credit? Listen, I wasn't even gonna tell y'all this week. We was gonna talk about this next week. So I'm gonna give you the general overview. All right. These are the three minimum cards that you can use as a youth that will help get you and establish you excellent credit. One, a secured card. What is a secured card, Sophia? A secured card is a credit card that is provided by a bank generally and some major credit card companies. So like Citi has one, Capital One has one. If you have $200 of your own money, if you have $100 of your own money, if you have $1,000 of your own money, and you cannot get approved for a credit card, you can put your own cash onto a secured card and they will report it like it is a regular credit card. Now, they will reward you if you keep it paid in full, if you keep your percentage under 30%. They will generally cash your money out to you and will then loan you a new credit card. When I say loan you, I simply means they're going to now establish you a new credit account with them. So let's say, for instance, you go to Citibank and you say, I'm going to use their secured card and I'm going to do the $200 one. You put $200 on the card. Now you have $200 to use like it's a regular credit card. It does not become a debit card. I need to say that. It is not a debit card. It is still a credit card, which means you still have to pay that monthly bill. You still have to keep your percentages low and you still want to pay on time. I tell people to pay it in full before your due date because it gives them trust. And the more you do that, eventually they will send you a notice saying, hey, we've just approved you for our city premier card. We're going to send you a check or we're going to a lot of these places will do it online now. If you have your bank account connected, they'll just transfer the funds back to you and cash you out. But then that $200 go there, they will either close that card or then they will turn that card into what they approved you for. It's a lot that goes into it, but that's very high overview. Secondly, if you are a teenager, Your parent can add you as an authorized user. That should be a D on the end of that. Authorized user and or AU for short. What is that, Sophia? An authorized user means I already have a credit account established with a company. I can add your name to my credit account and you now inherit my credit. It's amazing. This is one of the tricks that we use to be able to get our kids 700 plus credit. Adding them as an authorized user. Now I'm going to warn you as the student, as the person who's being added. Make sure whoever is adding you to that card that they are following the rules that we talked about earlier. Otherwise, that is going to destroy your credit for no reason. Tell them to delete you off of there and let me go. That is not it. If they are not a responsible adult, and this is a real conversation that we need to start having at these family dinner tables. If you're not a responsible adult, don't add your child onto that card. Get a new card when they turn 12. Don't use it except for when they threaten you to turn it off, and then add them. So by the time they turn 18, they already have 6 years of history of credit, on time payments, and bam, that credit score kick right on in. And lastly, you only need either a bank credit, a credit union card, and or a loan. So you only need up to 3 different types of credit on your credit report for a proper mixed credit. So for the average human who ends up going to college, your student loan is going to count as one type of credit. That's your installment, right? If you get you a bank card from your bank, or a bank credit card from your bank or credit union, then that counts as the second type of card. That's revolving credit. And that mix alone, as long as you're paying everything on time, making sure that you're keeping under 30%, making sure that you're paying that student loan when the payments kick in, it will help build your credit. So, in summary, because I got to give y'all the final tips, right? You want to make sure you're paying on time. I can't say that enough. I would never be able to say that enough. Pay on time. Pay on time. I don't care if you're paying the minimum. Pay on time. If you cannot pay them, call them on the phone. You can get your due dates changed. A lot of people don't know that. You may have signed up for a card because you needed it, you got approved, and the cycle came around and it's in the middle of the month. You would never get a paycheck then, right? Guess what? Call them and say, hey, can you move this to the first of the month? Sometimes they may charge you $5 fee. Sometimes they say you have to wait a 30-day cycle, but they will do it because they want to make sure that you're paying them on time. Budget, right? I know you like, what do budgeting got to do with credit? It got everything to do with it because you need to be able to keep track of all of the bills, all of the things that are due. And if you know you have 2 or 3 credit card bills that's due at the beginning of the month, when you get that check, you need to make sure that you got enough money set aside to be able to make that minimum payment. Another thing, pay more than your minimum balance. Interest is going to be charged every single month, and the minimum that they're asking for, half of the time don't cover the interest. So that means you're literally paying and you're seeing the same results the following month, which means you will never get a chance to pay that card off. Remember, stay within that 30% of usage of that card and don't apply for too many cards at one time. It makes you look desperate when you do it. They will start denying you when you do it because, once again, remember, it's reported. That's that hard inquiry on your credit report. And now it's starting to look bad. Like, they pay attention. It's like your friends. Like, you done asked your auntie for some money. You done went around here and asked your sister. You done asked cousin Ray Ray and them. What's going on with you, bro? Like, like no, they really thinking like that. And they're watching because they like, no. So if you didn't apply for 10 different credit cards, what is going on over these last couple of weeks? You obviously don't have the money. So that means it's gonna be harder for you to pay it back. All right, we good? We good. We coming to a close. I ain't gonna keep y'all all night. So, any final questions, comments, concerns? Please drop them in the chat. Drop them in the comment section. Look, be all on our social media page. It's like, hey, that one was talking crazy. Or you know what? She said some real good stuff and I appreciated it. We want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. My board want to hear from you. My curriculum advisor wants to hear from you because this is how we continue to improve. This is how we continue to keep all of the information that you need to be able to make you successful when it comes to this financial literacy and finance game. So let me just leave you with our upcoming events. Listen, I want to max this after school program out. I know the enrollment deadline said the 20th. We kept it open. Go online, go to our link tree, click that QR code that's on the screen. It'll be on the next two screens as well. Come join us. If you are in Detroit, we want to see you Tuesdays from 4 to 6. And if we get a large enough class, we're going to be able to have it 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also, November the 5th coming up, partnering again with the NBA Adulting 101. Things nobody told me about money. Taught me about money, excuse me. That's going to be an awesome series. It's going to be 3 times, November, December, and January. And then always our focus group. That's going to be November 15th and the 22nd. It is a Saturday. For a couple of hours, you get to come sit with me, go through our curriculum just like we did here. It won't be the slides that we went through over these Fridays, but it will be a different type of section that we want to be able to get reviewed. You get hands-on knowledge, right? Just from being in the room, you get to change your life. And you also get to get $10 for helping give us feedback on the very things that you get to learn. Okay. And as a bonus, you show up for 2 weeks, your name get entered for a $50 gift card drawing. Is that exciting? I know it is. It was exciting to me. Also, the good news, y'all, you can pre-order now. I'm waiting on Kindle and Amazon to give me the final go. But if you go to our website, you can go into the registration, the event page. You can pre-register, right? Pre-order now for our volume 1 book, right? We about to do a whole series on financial literacy. And we're starting with Score to Soar. Graduate with 700 plus credit. These have my 7 guaranteed tips that will get you a 700 plus credit score when you graduate. I have utilized it with my own children. I have seen it with the teens that I have been able to help. I know this works. As long as you work it, it will work for you. So I'm excited. And it's comic book style. Our lovely board member, Miss Alani Martin, aka social media manager, she is a design artist, illustrator, drawer, everything, right? And she did this book digitally. When I did this book, it was literally gonna be about 7 pages with words on it. But baby, it is a full blown out comic, and it is so sexy, and I'm so excited for it. So I digress. Just look out for it on Kindle and stuff over the next week, and you can pre-order now. I said on our website. And yes, it's all good. And it's gonna be in 3 parts. So we're gonna have the Kindle version, we're gonna have the Amazon version that you can get the physical copy of it, and then we also have a workbook version. So you get hands-on questions inside of it with note spaces and everything. So this is great. And remember, all proceeds go to keep our programming free for the community. So I thank you guys so very much for just stopping in for this hour, right? For making the decision to want to be different, to change your life, to be able to want to improve and become prosperous and get out of the scarcity mindset. Like at this point, we got to recognize there's not going to be a hero to come and save us. You have to save yourself. So until next time, and as always, much love and blessings. Peace.